So you just entered the law school of your dreams and you're excited, but you're also a little bit scared. You're confused. You don't really know what to do. You don't really know what's going to transpire there. Well, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Shaurid. I am a second year at the National Academy of Legal Studies and Research, or NASA University of Law, NASBAR. And this video is basically a survival guide for your first semester at whichever law school you're going to. I will cover firstly academics, moot court competitions, hostel life, and a little bit about budgeting as well. So, without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, regarding academics, uh, I'll talk about three or four things here. First, a little bit about reading, because reading seems to be this very instinctive, one of the most natural things you can do. We've been doing it since we were children. But law school reading is nothing like um, the reading that we had to do in school. So I remember very distinctly the first article that we had to read in our first semester was this thing by Peter Goodrich. He is a legal scholar. Um, and it was entirely incomprehensible. Um, the language was nothing like I'd seen before at all. So that was a bit scary. But what that means is that the language in law school readings is very different from the language in really anything else that you read, even in school, because these readings are not written with the intention of being understood by you. They're written by legal scholars for legal scholars who have decades of experience and therefore have the epistemological foundations to really understand what that article is trying to say. You don't have that. We don't have that. Compare that with school, where you had textbooks, and textbooks are written with the express intention of being understood by 11th graders, 12th graders, whatever. Not That's not the case for law school readings. So the language will be completely incomprehensible at first. But I will say you should still trudge through it. You should still struggle through it, because after you've gotten used to it, then it's really no issue at all. So, I mean, I struggled a lot in the first few readings in the first semester. But by this time, after having spent a year here, now I can read largely anything. Of course, it's still annoying if the reading is very dense, but like it's not incomprehensible, it's just annoying. So, there's at least some progress there. Uh, so, language is definitely one issue. Secondly, readings are a lot longer as well uh, than the typical um, textbook chapter. So the most recent reading, for example, this semester that I have had to read was it was the first reading of this semester, but it was also 70 pages long. So and every bit of that 70 pages is important as well, because it's so stretched out that although not every single paragraph is important, overall all those 70 pages are important because everything does convey something or the other. So that's actually why CLAD is so reading focused, so reading heavy, because it's trying to train you to have a very high reading stamina. Because the entire legal profession is about reading things that are dense, annoying, and too long to read for the average person, and therefore they are paying you to read that for them. That's what law is, and that's what law school readings are as well. So you will have to get used to the fact that the things that you're reading are incomprehensible at the start and also a lot longer than you expected as well. But again, if you trudge through it, if you get used to it, that's the key thing. If you get used to it, of course, it stops being as daunting as it was at the start. I was completely taken aback in the beginning as well, but the process of struggling through it gives you the skills, equips you with the skills needed to the next time do the same thing, but faster, with less effort, a little bit easier. So try not to chat GPT your readings, um, because then you're not really equipping yourself with the skills needed to survive in the legal profession. You're equipping ChatGPT with that, and I'm sure ChatGPT already has plenty of those skills. Um, Thirdly, try to maintain a good rapport with your professors as well. um, like you don't really have to, you know, answer every single question in class, annoy your professors after class, in every single thing. You don't have to be so overbearing, but at the same time, I will urge you to be at least slightly above average in terms of your engagement with the class. So, like, uh, try to ask a few questions, both in class and outside class as well, either by email or in their office hours. Um, of course, do the readings that they assign in class. But in general, at least, like, try that they at least know your name. Your professors, at least they know your name. At least they can put a name to your face, because these professors are a gold mine for your future career prospects. Because these are the references you're going to give when you apply for internships or when you apply for higher education. You'll need some references, and these people are going to be your references. So it's always better to, like, when you have to approach a professor for references, always better if they actually know who you are, rather than them seeing your face the first time when you approach them. So try to maintain a good rapport with them. And lastly, please don't compare yourself with your peers. um, you will see people who will flex about having this wonderful, prestigious internship, or that they've secured this really wonderful international moot court competition. Uh, they might have, sure, but what they won't tell you is that nobody has every single thing in the bag. Uh, if they have competitions, moot court competitions, internships, maybe they don't have time for the good CGPA. If they have a good CGPA, maybe they don't have a good social life. The fact is that not everybody, like, nobody can have every single thing or can be good at every single thing. Uh, so while I would say be aware that there is some competition, be aware that you have to do some things for your future career prospects. Don't let it stress you beyond the level of stress that is healthy, that will inspire you to work harder. So don't, like, once the competition becomes toxic, that's the issue. The competition itself isn't the issue. It's actually a good thing to have some competition that pushes you to be your best. uh, that's all for academics. Now moving on to moot court competitions. Firstly, get a very, very, very strong grip on citations. This will help you not just in moot court competitions, but also in projects, as well as if you publish papers in academic journals. There also, of course, you'll have to cite things following a particular style. So the earlier you get a really good command over citations, the better, because it is really annoying having to do citations. Um, but that's exactly what makes it so important of a skill to have, because nobody wants to do that. And so if you're able to do it with precision, with accuracy, with reliability, you will become an indispensable asset in any moot court team. And this connects to the next point, actually, which is get a good grip on formatting and layouts in Word documents as well. Because this is, again, a skill which nobody really likes doing, or really most people don't even know how to do it well. But every team needs to have, to make sure that their memos, their memorials for the moot court competition match the rules of that competition or regarding the particular formatting. And so if you can be that person in every single team, that okay, just give me the memo, I'll make sure it follows the rules, and you don't have to think about that. Just rely on me. That is completely indispensable to really any moot court team. That will make you so valuable. Uh, and it's also just generally good to know how to, organize things cleanly, or to make them more readable. So I would actually suggest do this not just for moot court competitions or for projects, but also for your class notes as well, because if you put in the effort earlier on while you're making the notes, to make them pretty, to make them, if not pretty, at least easy to understand or inviting to understand, uh, once you come back to study them during the exams, you won't have to put so much effort while reading it, and you can use that effort, that spared effort, to actually understand the concept and remember it. So try as hard as you can in the starting semester to develop the skill of formatting, layouts, organization, cleanups, all that stuff. Uh, that's all for moot court competitions. Thirdly, regarding hostels, uh, for most of you, this is the first time you're living on your own. Uh, and it's, if you're an only child as well, it's also probably the first time you're having to share a room with somebody. I'm an only child. This is my first time sharing a room, at least after I grew up and started living in my own room, aside from my parents' room. Uh, so, first thing, by far very underrated, but try to have a routine. It's cliche. I know it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's been given 1,000 times. And it's been given 1,000 times because it works. Uh, have a routine so that you don't really, it just saves you more, it saves you a lot of stress. You know, uh, for example, my mornings are completely like I operate on autopilot when I wake up. From the moment I wake up to the moment I'm in class, my brain is working at 50% capacity because I've just woken up. I don't really want to do anything mentally demanding. But the fact that I have a routine further, takes away the effort because it's just so ingrained. It's like muscle memory. I wake up at 7. I freshen up and brush my teeth by 7:15, 7:20. I shower by 7:45, 7:50. I dress by 8 o'clock, and I leave the room by 8 o'clock. I save my seat in the class by 8:10. I have breakfast by 8:45, and I'm back in the class in time for the 9 a.m. lecture by 8:50. Magic, except it's not magic. It's routines. It's discipline, and this will save you so much unnecessary stress. That, oh crap, I woke up late. How will I make it in time for class? Will I have to skip breakfast? All those things, we won't have to worry about that if we just follow this routine. Or whatever routine works for you. Mine is just an example. Whatever works for you, for your class, for your college, for your circumstances, follow that. But the point is, have a routine, have some discipline. Of course, you can break it, once in a blue moon, or like if you want to stay up late on a Friday night, sure. I mean, who's stopping you? There's really no consequences to that. But at least during the weekday, when you have to wake up early for class, at least then make sure to follow your routine. Um, Secondly, regarding hostels, both you and your roommate have to be a little bit accommodating. Not just a little bit, very accommodating, if you want to have a good life in your hostel. And honestly, your relationship with your roommate is by far one of the most important relationships that you can have, because outside of class, you're going to spend, if not a majority, a hefty chunk of your time in your room with your roommate, sharing the room. So if you can't stand your roommate's presence, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Of course, this depends on the fact that you have a good roommate. Um, if you don't, and if your college doesn't allow you to change roommates, you're basically screwed. But let's hope you get a good roommate, and you should be a good roommate as well. What I mean by that, primarily, it's like it's basically like living with a sibling. That's the best way I can put it. I don't have siblings, but I'm assuming this is how living with a sibling would be. Uh, of course, without any of the sibling fights. Uh, but like you have to share stuff, of course. You can't divide the room down the middle like an international border, because that'll just make living so sad. That'll be so hostile the living conditions in your room, they'll be so hostile. I don't think you'd want to live in a room like that. Try to cooperate as much as you can with your roommate, um, because like, again, that will also just reduce the amount of stress in your life. Most of the tips that I'm giving in this video, they are I'm giving them with the aim of reducing the stress in your life, because they've reduced the stress in my life considerably and consistently. So try to cooperate with your roommate. Try make sure you don't divide your room down the middle. You'll have to share things. You'll have to be accommodating. Um, if your roommate wants some stuff and if it's reasonable, you have to do that. And the same way, your roommate should ideally do some things for you as well, if it's of course reasonable. That's all for hostels. Lastly, a little bit about money and budgeting, because again, most of you are living on your own for the first time, away from your parents, and you're getting some decent amount of pocket money. Uh, Again, cliche advice, but it works. Um, Save as much as you can without hampering your enjoyment of just normal college life. So, of course, I'm not saying, save every single rupee that you get from your parents. Of course not. But, and even I don't save that much. But excluding the costs for, like, let's say, a few biscuits, a few cold drinks every single week, uh, have at least some leftover, some money left over from your pocket money that uh, you can use for two things that I'm thinking about. First, uh, you'll have a lot of unexpected costs living alone that you did not think about, because when you were living with your parents, they paid for it for the entire household. So, laundry, for example, uh, vacuum cleaners, general household goods, you will need them if you want to live. They're not wants, they're needs for survival. So, and the costs for these things are going to be a lot higher than you think, trust me. So you need some saved up money to buy these things. But secondly, also, the saved up money will help you buy stuff that's a bit costlier. For example, the mic I'm using to record this, I bought this with my saved up money over a few months. Uh, and if I didn't save money, I would be recording with my phone's microphone. So the point is, save as much as you can. Um, don't be, you know, constantly remind yourself that you have a limited amount of money. You don't have an infinite supply of money. Of course, you can ask your parents for more money, but I would highly discourage that, because then that does not build any financial discipline. Um, I would recommend just sticking to the pocket money, monthly, consistent, stable pocket money that you've agreed to with your parents, and just trying to make that work. I don't think you need more than 5,000 rupees per month as pocket money. I think that's around just the right amount. Any more than that, and I think that's a bit indulgent. I mean, of course, if you can afford that, by all means, take as much as you can. But for the average person, 5,000 per month should be enough. Um, and any lower than that, then it will be a bit tight if you want to enjoy everything while still having all the necessities of life as well, while still getting, costlier things as well. So that's all for money. And that's all from my side. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and pressing the bell icon as well. If you have any suggestions, queries, doubts, requests, please put them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them either in the comments themselves, or if I think they deserve a separate video of their own, I'll make a separate video for them as well. And with that, that's all from my side. Bye bye, and good luck for your first year at law school.